So last time we studied on Saturday. I mean, we were trying to revise whatever we learned in the past 4 days before that, and I was not able to revise anything in on Sat. I mean, I was able to revise at least one page out of four at that time, but the thing was that I already had a good understanding and memory of the starting first page, but the problem started later on after post-modern period where I couldn't remember most of the rulers' name and what they did, what inscriptions were there, and mainly specific names. So I was trying to revise that. So before going forward, but what I will do today is to revise as much as I could. I will try to do it all, but if it doesn't happen, then we will see. So but from tomorrow on I have to start, uh, I have to move forward, but I will put extra time on my revision of the previous previous things that I have learned with the help of Notebook LM, quizzes and flashcards. I think that will be quite effective if I do it right. So there are going to be some days in this month. There's going to be one day on which I will not be able to study, most likely that is on my birthday, but we will see. But but on the next month there are three weddings that I have to go to, and one of the weddings is not in Delhi. I have to go where, somewhere in MP, Indore, I think. Yes, Indore, not in, yes, Indore, for the wedding, and it will take around 3 days. So I was thinking that I will somehow turn those 3 days. Not all 3 days will be like that. So I will try to turn my most of the time at that time should go to revision, like doing the quizzes and PYQs, MCQ PYQs, and try to revise things that I have learned till then. That is why I'm going to start from tomorrow on, so I have something more to revise from there on. So let's start from here. We did prehistory, starting Stone Age. After that, we got into Sindhu Saraswati civilization, then Vedic age, early Vedic, post Vedic. Then we got into early Vedic, post Vedic. Then we got into Buddhist, heterodox sects, their rise and their decline. And now we are going to do foreign invasions that happened. So the first one who came to India and invaded India was Cyrus, and he captured till Kapisha in Gandhara. After that, his successor Darius II, who captured till River Indus. Darius I, who captured from Gandhara to River Indus and made it his 20th Satrapy or 20th province. 20th province. There were more things, but in the book that in the history material, but I think that is, I can't remember everything, so I'm trying to focus on the main things. So after that, we see what were the Persian culture impression at, on the Mauryaans at that time. So we see punched mark coins that were used at that time, used by Persians, were adopted by Mauryans, So there coins like Karsa and Karsa Sapna, which were in Persian, were used by Mauryaans as Pana and Kar Sapna. Kar Sapna. So Pana is silver and Kar Sapna is bronze. We see script was also there is a similarity in script. I mean the name of it. They called Persian called the script DP and we called it Lipi. I mean Mauryans. There was a new script was also introduced with the amalgamation of Brahmi script and Aramaic script. It was Kharoshthi script. Kharoshthi script, and mainly Brahmi script was used in Ashokan edicts. There was, I think, one or two evidences of Kharoshthi script. This Kharoshthi script was made around 4th century BCE, written from right to left. Edicts in Afghanistan, it was used in Afghanistan. Edicts in Afghanistan by Ashoka, unme we see the evidence of it. Then architecture was also inspired by Persians like Persepolis and Ecbatana. Pillar architecture also made impression on Mauryan pillar architecture. Takshila University was also Takshila University, which was for higher studies, was the first major university of the world in 5th century CE, which was discovered by John Marshall in 1940s. Then we see Panini, who was headmaster there, or you can say principal there, authored first work of Sanskrit grammar, in which it is talked about culture and other things. And where do we get this knowledge from? At that time, Hyun Sang came in India and noted it down in 7th century CE. Subjects like Travaji, which is 3 Vedas, Travaji, archery, medicine, and Sanskrit were taught in Takshila University. People from Central to West Asia came here. Central, West, and South Asia came here. And then we also see Greeks also came to invade India, and one of the famous invaders are the people who wanted to conquest the India was Alexander. Alexander fought a battle of Hydaspes, which was on River Jhelum, and his dear horse Bordofilla and his commander, whose name is Nikaya Kofala. Nikaya died here, and he named named cities after them, which were settled in India made by him in India, which was Bocofela, Nicaea, and Alexandria. These 3 cities, and we see that Alexander wanted to move forward till he captured all of India, but his army was not interested. Also, he got a message from his country that he should return back. So, in the process of returning, he died due to typhoid in Babylonia. Also, one of the reasons the army was discouraged because they first time saw elephants in the war, and the King Dhananand had 3 lakh soldiers plus elephants in his army, who Alexander wanted to fight next. Then we see the Mauryan Empire here. Mauryan Empire was founded by Chandragupta Maurya in 321 BCE, and he reigned till 321 BCE and reigned till 297 BCE. He was a student of Vishnugupta, you can say, Chanakya, you can say, Kautilya, you can say. These are names of all these are names of one person, and he made helped Chandragupta Maurya to become the king. We see things were Junagadh rock inscription. We got to know about it. Names of Chandragupta Maurya and Junagadh rock inscription. Then Greek ambassadors were also there, like Justin and Plutarch, who called Chandragupta Maurya uh, Sandrocotus and Androcotus. Policy of expansionism was adopted by him, and he fought a battle of Seleucus, in which he fought the king. Ba- battle he fought battle with Seleucus Nicator, who was king of Bactria, North Afghanistan. But in end, he married off to his daughter to form a matrimonial alliance, and we see um Megasthenes as an ambassador came to India for 7 years and observed and wrote things in his book Indica about it. You see, but Arthashastra was the primary source, centralized. Chandragupta Mauryan administration was very centralized. It means that all the power lies with Chandragupta Maurya. Everything should be decided by Chandragupta Maurya. But administrations were in place in levels of center, province, and district, and also at village level. Capital was Patliputra. Mantrins, Amatyas were bureaucrats, and Amatyas were like IAS. Amatyas, Mahamatas, and Adhakshas at central level. Samharta and Samhidata at district level. Kautilya also said that a king should have four type of knowledge. First is Trivija, Trai. Trai is three Vedas. Second is Vasta, which is economics. Third is Anvivaski, philosophy. And fourth is Dandaniti, which is statecraft, knowledge of the state or knowledge of administration. Then there were routine that was set up by Vishnugupta for Chandragupta Maurya, that at the time of waking he should spend his first hour to collect revenue and assign duties to different departments. He should discuss policy or things with his commander, his Senapati. He should discuss things with his mantrins and take advice from them on policy matters. Then he should also visit his physician, his his chef and astrologer also. He should take blessings from Purohit. And what other things? He should meet anytime his secret agents wants to meet him. He should give time to them. Reports on defense and accounts also. Also, a king should only have 6 hours of sleep. Then the not Ashtang, Saptang theory, Saptang theory of Kautilya, which was seven limbs of state. First is king, second king, 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 Danda military, Mitra friend, Mantrin minister, treasury, कोश और क्या होता है, पांच हुए. कोश, हाँ, जन टेरिटरी, और क्या रह गया, जनपद टेरिटरी, और दुर्ग फोर्ट्स. Okay. He retired in 297 and went with Bhadrabahu to Shravanbelagola in Mysore. Then after that, Bindusara came into reign. Bindusara reigned from 297 BCE till 272 BCE. He was also had great relation with other countries. How do we know it? He was Greek from the Greek sources. He was friend with the kingdom of Persia, sorry, with the kingdom of Syria and Egypt. From Syria, mm, the ambassador came was Demi, Demicus, Demicus, and from Egypt came Dionysius, Di, Di, Dionysius, Dionysius, and they gave Bindusara name of Amithocrates. Amithocrates means destroyer of enemies. He also requested Antiochus I and king of Syria a lot of things, and also a sophist, which they didn't give, as sophist was not something to be sold off. Controlled Deccan and Mansoor because of the gold mines. Not a lot to know about him. I mean, there is in the book, but in the notes, no. Then came Ashoka. Ashoka the Great. Why great? Because he killed a lot of people. He committed patricide. He killed 99 of his brothers to get the throne. But later on, he became Buddhist. No, not Buddhist. Sorry, Jaina. So Ashoka in 262, 268 to 232. Reigned till 268, from 268 to 232 CE. We know about art and sculpture was developed a lot here. It was promoted a lot here. He has a name Devanama Priyadasi, which is beloved of God, found in Rumindi pillar inscriptions. His name was found in Musky inscription, Junagadh inscription, rock inscription. Ranyo Ashoka was also his name, found in Kanganhali pillar of Sanvati, Karnataka. ये ले लो, आंटी दे गई सामने वाली। आधा घंटा तो मैं क्या करूँ, आप लोग नीचे थे, गेट उड़का लेना। मम्मी गेट उड़का दो यार, गेट उड़का दो मेरा।
जब गेट खुला मिला तभी मैं समझ गई कि संगीत ही आई रही।
ऐसे गेट उड़का दो। So Ranya Ashoka name was found from Kanganhali pillar of Sanvati, Karnataka. Also portrait of Ashoka and his wife from Kanganhali. Then his empire from Afghanistan to Bangladesh and from Kashmir to Karnataka. Then we see his two main things that happened was policy of Dhamma and his war of Kalinga. Policy of Dhamma was promoted throughout his country with the help of edicts and pillars, in which we see mention of different kind of things. But why do we see these? Why there was a need of policy of Dhamma? As we see, Ashoka was reigning a whole lot of a territory, and there were diverse groups of people from ethnicity to religious basis to culture basis. So he needed something to unite them from. So it helped as a thing to unite them in mentality, ideology, and also there was a lot of infighting going on between different groups, and one of Ashoka's relative, Vita Ashoka, was also killed in this by Nirgranth order of Buddhist Nirgranth monks. So edicts like Edict 13 mention about Kalinga War and South Indian states, Then we see edict, major edict pillar 2 and 7 mention about policy of dhamma and prakrit. Then dhamma, what is dhamma? But dhamma is a code of conduct which tells us about morality, righteousness, how to live in a society. So, in short, you can say tolerance against others, respect to others, non violence, good deeds, piety, moral life, and righteousness. We also see socio-economic reasons over there, like tension between Vaishya and Shudra class against Brahmins, as Brahmins were not letting them through. I mean, socially letting them through to upper social class. Then tension between sex, as we talked about, which was also mentioned in Major Rock Edict 12, which tells us to respect all the religions, including respecting Brahmins. We see attacks on Shramana, ascetics, and Parivarjakas, wandering teachers. Hmm. A decline policy of Dhamma. Decline policy of Dhamma weakened the strength. Oh, sorry. Now we are talking about how did the Mauryan Empire lose its power or got into decline. One of the reasons said by many is his policy of Dhamma, which made many of his enemies believe that he was not going to be non going to be violent and considered him weak. So we see Takshila, revolt in Takshila, and Ashoka sent his son Kunal to suppress that. But other reasons were also like the division of the empire into two, one given to western province given to Kunal and Sampriti, and eastern given to Dashratha. We also see economic reasons like decline in mineral resources, as the empire was also divided. So there were limited number of min- mines at that time. So we see decline. The evidence we found was decline in silver coins. Also weak successor who couldn't handle the invaders or the attacks of other kings. So weak successors was also region. The animosity from Brahmins, as Ashoka was a Jaina and Brahmins were seen not not with very good eye at that time. क्या हुआ?
ये कहाँ पैंट धो भाई है?
कौन सी पैंट?
ये काला
धो लियो, निकाल देना चीज़ इसमें से.
नहीं, इस बाहर भी धो दूंगी सब.
So the reason why policy of Dhamma is not the main reason, because we see in an Egyptian king and Akhenaten. Mummy gate yaar. Akhenaten in 12th century BC also adopted policy of pacifism, but his empire didn't decline due to it. So we see that. वो भी उसमें वो भी होगा
हैं?
रुमाल.
नहीं यार.
अच्छा ठीक है, बंद कर. So these are the points of decline, but what were the achievements done by Mauryans that we see? There were many achievements that we can think of. One is cultural economic achievements, like they exploited the resources good and made everything into their use. And as they had vast army and bureaucrats, I mean a bigger bureaucratic administration was in place, so they needed vast resources, so they exploited lot of resources. We also see that uh, they assigned lot of adhakshas, so they maintain different kind of responsibilities. Like for example, he appointed 27 adhakshas economic activities. Example, Sitadhaksha for agriculture, Akaradhaksha for mining, Panyadhaksha for market, Lavanyadhaksha for salt mining, Potvadaksha for weight and measures. But agriculture was the main job at that time, main source of revenue also. So what Ashoka did, or what Mauryan Empire whole did, was that they gave Shudras the land and turned them into a forced labor known as uh, known as Vishti, and they were appointed by Vishti Vardhakas, and made them as forced labor for the farming. But we see that they enjoyed some rights. Then we see taxes on like bhaga, which is 1/6 of your total produce, and bali, which is voluntary offering to the state. Then we see irrigation measures also that were taken in place, so farmers are helped. For example, he made Sudarshan Lake in Gujarat to help the farmers with irrigation. Then we also see famine relief and drought, mostly famine relief he gave to people in the time of suffering, so they could stand again. And when they stood again, he took what he gave them, so he filled his tragedy again. Here, these evidences are found in Maharashtra, Mahasthan inscription and Song, Sohan, Songora, so Sohgora inscription. We see Thanya Paddy. We see Megasthenes also made some observations there, like he said that there were uh, Megasthenes also liked some things there, like he liked astronomy and agronomy. Astronomy is a city administrator, and agronomy is a road construction, for who is responsible for road construction and maintenance, which helped in trade and commerce, as the trading route Uttar Patha, which was linking Tamralipti from Bengal to Takshila, northwest. We see seaports in east and west, such as Tamralipti and Bharroj in Gujarat. We see trade from Southeast Asia, China, and Europe. We also see Megasthenes making some bold observations, like there were 7 castes in India that he found, which were mainly occupations: agriculture, sorry, farmer, bureaucrat, philosopher, and philosopher. I don't think philosophy was there. There was philosopher, farmer, soldier, herdsman, artisan, and magistrate and counselors, which was he got confused. First was that he that the Mauryans didn't know the art of writing, which was false. Then also that Mauryans didn't have slaves, which was also false, as we talked about Vishtis. But the thing was, these slaves were very different from Western slaves, as these slaves enjoyed the right to have property, right to earn money, right to live a dignified life, as in the edicts of Ashoka also mentions that everyone should treat his slaves well. Mm. Mm. Four Varna untouchables Malech, rising of Varna Shankara, which is intercaste marriage, leading to making of 16 caste at that time, Antevasin, slavery and manumission, freedom from slavery. Shudra were permanent slaves, and uh, people from upper Varnas were also made slaves, but they were temporary slaves and called Ahitakas. Ahitakas. And Takshila Panini Ashtadhyayi Sanskrit grammar. In art and architecture, we see art and architecture was used to exhibit power and authority of the king. We see two types of art: popular and court art. So, mm, great sandstone was mainly used from Chuna or Varanasi. Then we see one of the main attraction of architecture was modern palace made of 80 pillars. It was destroyed by fire, found by Woodall and Spooner in 1912 and 13 around in near Kumrar and Bulandgarh, Patna. We also see Hyun Sang mention it in his travelogue that uh, it was a a magnificent or beautiful modern palace, but he found it in dilapidated state. Then we see pillar architecture were there in early times. It was made from, I mean, in early pillar architecture was made from wood. We see found we found its evidence from Patna, Bihar, but mainly stone was used, and it was used to spread beliefs of Buddha and Bodhisattvas and Dhamma. For inscriptions like Nilgai Sagar, Nigali Sagar, and other filler edicts used to promote Dhamma. Sarnath Lion Capital, which has four Dharma Chakra, four lions back to back, 24 spokes representing time. Then we see stupa architecture was also here. Bull Buddha. We also see on pillars. We see different kinds of animals depicted, like horse, and bull, horse, and I think elephant. Yes, bull was used to depict his birth at Rishabh Rashi, horse for renunciation, and elephant for birth of Buddha, and lion for symbol of Sakya clan. Then we see stupa structure also. The oldest evidence was found in Lumbini, which is Piprahavasa stupa, excavated by Ashoka. Ashoka made age major stupa and 84,000 stupas across his empire to spread the message. For example, Sanchi Stup, Sarnath Stup, Bharut Stup, Dharma Stup, Rajghat, Takshila. Dharma Rajghat, Takshila. These stupas were also defended by different emperors like Sunga, Satavahanas, and mostly by Begum, Begum Shah Jahan, who protected Sanchi Stup from Britishers. We see Amravati Stupa, which tells us about Buddha taming a mad elephant. From the cave architecture, we also see Barabra and Nagarjuni hills, which were of Gaya Bihar, were given to Ajivikas. Then Sudama cave, Gopi cave, Lomash Rishi cave was also given to Ajivikas. Chaitya, who were follow Pasakas were followers. Chaityas were place to meditate and worship. Like for example, Karli Chaitya in Karnataka. Then we also see sculpture art was also very promoted. For example, images of animals were used to attract people, so they come and get curious about the religion of Buddhism. Then we see Dholi elephant in Odisha. And then we see Yaksha. In Yaksha is god of wealth Kuber, and Yakshani is protector or doorkeeper of wealth. Were also found in the Darganj and Patna, Parkhan in Mathura and Pittalkhora, Maharashtra. So that is all for the Mauryan Empire. We will start from post-Mauryan after doing a flashcard thing and then quiz. But first, I have to take a little 2-3 minutes break. Mm-hmm. We have to do two Indian Vedic and Marjan Padas and then Marjans. And then we'll move to post-Mauryan and then South India. So According to scholars, the Aryans were a linguistic group who had mastered an Indo-European and Indo-Aryan language. I don't know. Aryans were linguistic group who had mastered an Indo-European and Indo-Aryan language like Bostrophaidin. What the style the Bostrophaidin linguistic group who had mastered Indo-European or Indo-Aryan language like Sanskrit. Sanskrit. What does the word Arya refer to in Vedic culture? People with lighter color. Noble birth, sorry. According to the holy text, then there was the original home of the Iran of Persia. Oh, Ariana Vaija, Central Asia. Ariana Vaija in Central Asia, okay. Which West Asian inscription mentions common Aryan gods like Varuna Mitra, corroborating the Vedic accounts. Mentions common Aryan gods like Varuna and corroborating Greek Vedic accounts. West Asian inscriptions. Kasite Iraq, Mitani Syria, Bhagoskoi Turkey. Kasite Iraq, Mitani Syria, Bhagoskoi Turkey. Vedic literature is also known as Shruti literature. According to Vedic Veda, the early Aryans established their home in India, northwest. The area of Sapt Sindhu, the region of the Indus River and its tributaries, Sapt Sindhu. Okay. What is the ancient name for river Satluj as the Shatudri? Sorry. What ancient name does the Rigveda use for the river Ravi? रावी के लिए क्या यूज़ करता था यार? रावी के लिए परुष्णी. Later Vedic text mentioned the Aryan expansion eastward up to the river Sadanira, which is the modern Sadanira क्या है? Gandak. Which later Vedic text mentioned that the people of Magadha and Anga were enemies of the Aryans. Which later Vedic text mentions Rigved, Atharvaved. ये तो मुझे याद था उनका ऊपर अथर्ववेद में मेंशन है. The early Vedic society in Japan, but the basic social unit was the family. The Purushukta hymn, which first mentioned the 4-1 order, Purushukta in 10th mandala. Which part of 10th mandala? Name of the learned woman who composed hymns in R.A. यार यही तो मैत्री तो उपनिषद करा था मैत्री ने. उपाला ही नाम याद आता है मुझे बस. अपाला है वो भी, उपाला भी नहीं है. विश्वारा अपाला घोष दिरुचि. विश्वाला अपाला घोष दिरुचि. ओके. घोष. Where the Varna system became rigid as determined on the basis of birth. The positives of life in the Varna Ashram system were compulsory for which social group? Upper 3 Varnas, which was what the 4? Brahmacharya, celibacy, Grihastha, household, Sannyasin, which was last, and Vasapati. Vasapati, याद नहीं आ रहा. Varna. Which ceremony involving wearing of sacred thread was denied. Janeu and women in the later Upanayan ceremony Janeu धारण करना मना था. The powerful Gayatri month mentioned in 3rd mandala of Rigveda was dedicated to which deity, god son? Who was Gargi and Maitri? Gargi and Maitri were Upanishadic scholars of later Vedic period. In early Vedic period, the tribal chief was called Raja and was supported by tribals and named 2 assemblies: Samitas, Sanghas. Samiti Sabha, Vidhat और Gana. Sabha, Samiti, Vidhat, Gana. The battle of 10 kings mentioned in the 7th mandala of Rigveda was fought on the bank of Parushni Ravi. The later Vedic period of the term Jana tribe was replaced by Janapada, indicating what shift in Aryan settlement. Janapada, they permanently settled at one place, Janapada, and in bigger numbers, indicating permanent footing of a tribe over a piece. What was the purpose of Ashwamedh Yagya in the later Vedic period? It was used to annex a land, as if a ruler of another country or emperor of another country doesn't stop it, then the entire region automatically becomes a part of the person who is doing this yajna. And if someone stops the horse, then the both of the kings has to fight to assert the dominance. No sovereignty. What did Vajpayee Yagya involve? Vajpayee Yajna. Vajpayee Yajna, it showed the authority of king, and in this he has to visit his mantrin's home to maintain a cordial relationship. Chariot would ये गलत वाला बता दिया मैंने. Which king's chariot would win against his kinsman, symbolizing king's power. Placement, ठीक है. The Rajusya Yagna ceremony called Ratnavarshi, where a king had to do what? ये जो मैंने भी कहा, mantrins, natrins, not natrins, mantrins, and eat with them as a symbol of solidarity. Eat with them. What was the purpose of circular pit fire called Grihapatya in Vedic? Circular pit fire was for circular pit fire for याद ही नहीं आ रहा. The fire pit for the household or Yajman Grihapatya. In the Vedic fire orator, what was the name and shape of the fire pit in the southern direction meant for the peace of ancestors? Dakshinagam or Dakshinagami, which is Korean shape. What was the primary basis of early Vedic economy? Pastoralism and animal rearing. Pastoral, with cattle being most important wealth. The Rigveda mentions a metal called Ayash, Krishna Ayash, Sham Ayash, O crop weapons. What crop known as Vrihi was added as staple? Vrihi was paddy, rice or paddy. The term Sham Ayash origin found in the Yajur and Atharvaveda is identified with which metal? Iron. Vita pottery is considered the most distinctive black redware pottery. Painted greyware. Painted greyware. The early Vedicarians practiced polytheism, primarily worshipping. Indra or the natural forces. Who was the most powerful god for the early Vedic Aryans? Indra, dedicated to him, also known as Purandar, destroyer of enemies. God in the Purandar. What title meaning killer of enemies going to Purandar? नहीं with अच्छा Purandar फिर destroyer of what होगा? Vritrahan. The Nasadya hymn of Rigveda proposes that the universe was created by what? Sadhya universe was created by Brahm, a natural phenomena stating that gods came after Vamashachya. उसी को हम ब्रह्म कहते हैं. Okay, Hiranyagarbha. In later Vedic period, which three gods emerged as the major deities? Varuna, Shiva, Mitra. Oh, sorry. शिवा तथा मतलब रुद्र. तो बृहस्पति, ब्रह्मा, रुद्र, शिवा and Vishnu. Okay. Which Vedic text question the logic behind sacrificial ritual? Upanishads. The philosophy of Satyameva Jayate. In which Upanishad? बिल्कुल नहीं पता. मुंडाक Upanishad Satyameva Jayate. The philosophy of Vasudeva Kutumbakam, world is one family, is mentioned. Katha? नहीं Katha. Maha Upanishad. The concept of soul, Atman, explored in Chandogya through the story of Atma, Chandogya. Chandogya में आत्मा की बात हो रही है. ये तो पक्का वही है. Nachiketan and Yama. Udala Karuni और श्वेत केतु क्या था कुछ छंदों के उपनिषद में सोल हाँ concept of soul ठीक है. The Buddhist text lists 16 major Mahajanpada that emerged in the which Buddhist texts मुझे बिल्कुल नहीं पता यार. Anguttara Nikaya and Mahavastu. Anguttara Nikaya and Mahavastu mentions the 16 Mahajanpadas. Which Jaina text provides a list of 16 Mahajanpadas? बुद्धिस्ट है ना क्या था महावस्तु एंड अंगुतारा निकाया. इसका क्या है भगवती सूत्र. कन्फेडरेसीज Gansanghas. King Bimbisara of Magadha was called Sani. What does this mean? Commander of army, leader of army. The earliest use of coin in India, Panchmakon, was found in modern kingdom like monarchical kingdoms. The Daesh was the most powerful Gansanga because it was confederacy Vajis. What were Ghapatis in the context of Mahajanpada? They were economic householders like rich farmers, rich traders and merchants. Rich farmers who diversified their economic activities into trade and commerce. Magadha's first capital, Rajgiri, was strategically located because it was covered by 5 mountains. Hills, sorry. Magadha's later capital, Patliputra, was called as Jaldura because it is located on the confluence of which 4 rivers? Ganga, Gandak, Son, Punapun. Ganga, Gandak, Son, Punapun. Ganga, Gandak, Son, Punapun. Who was founder of Haryanka dynasty in 6th century BCE, Magadha? Haryanka dynasty, na? Bimbisar. Under his policy of conquest, Bimbisara annexed which Mahajanpada? Anga. Today's Bhagalpur. Through his matrimonial alliance, which with the Kosala, Bimbisara received which. Through his matrimonial alliance, which of the Kosalas Bimbisara received city as Kashi? Kashi Varanasi. Who was Jivika? Who was Jivika in the court of Bimbisara? Who was Jivika in the court of? He was royal physician sent by Bimbisara Acha to treat King Pradyot Mahasen of Avanti. So who is said to have killed Bimbisara to seize the throne of Magadha? His son Ajatashatru. What were the names of 2 war weapons invented by Mahashilkantak and Rathamshala. Mahashilkantak and Rathamshala. Who was Vaskara? I don't remember. A Brahman minister King Ajatashatru who helped defeat Vajis by showing seeds of dice. Which he also got from Buddha. Vaskara. Which Magadhan king captured Avanti of Ujjain? Avanti? Magadhan king. It was Ajatashatru. Shishunag. Yes, Shishunag and Mahapadmananda captured Kalinga, Odisha. Avanti. Nanda captured Odisha, Mahapadmananda. Magadha was the first kingdom to use dash in their army, elephants. According to the Sthavira Veda, why were the people of Magadha seen as enemies to Brahmanical practice? According to Sthavira Veda, why were the people of Magadha seen as enemies to Brahmanical practice as they didn't follow it? Because region was mainly inhabitants of Magadhans and Kiratas who were held in low esteem by Orthodox. The heterodox sects of 6th century BC India were identified with Samana culture which emerged against the Brahmana culture, which practice which became common in the post-Vedic period, added to the misery of farmers and animal sacrifices. Buddha used the dash and dash language, Prakrit and Pali, Magdi and Pali, sorry. Which language? Prakrit. The emergence of which social classes and economic powers was a key factor to support Vaishya, I mean traders and merchants. Vaishya, thanks. मैंने अभी क्या करा इंडियन वैदिक क्विज कर लेते हैं. In later Vedic texts describes specific yajnas that serve to legitimize and enhance a king's power. The later Vedic texts describe specific yajnas that serve to enhance king's power, which in Vajpayee. According to the source material, what was the primary distinction in the political section decision making? Monarchy promoted trade and commerce using barter system. Na. Gansanghas were governed by a single. Na. Decisions in Gansanghas were made by consensus in public assembly wide. Yes. Monarchies relied on a permanent standing army while Gansanghas used temporary militias formed during wartime. Well, decisions in Gansanghas were made by consensus while monarchies featured a king with absolute unfettered authority. Yet through monarchies relied on permanent standing army, while Gansanghas exclusively militias formed during wartime. The Upanishads represented a philosophical reaction. What was the center for the Upanishadic thought critique? The author knew the question rationality, complexity, ritual, sacrifice, spiritualism, self making the first stages of life. What key socio-economic change marked the transition from the early Vedic to the later Vedic period, fundamentally altering the basis of wealth and settlement pattern? It marked the transition from the early Vedic to later Vedic. In the basis of wealth, large-scale irrigation systems, introduction of coinage, early to later, the economic shifted from primarily pastoral cattle wealth, with land becoming the most craft. The term Upanayan ceremony held as an exclusionary rule in later Vedic society. What was its primary social implication? Under the special intent to become Union of education, it was mandatory coming of age, symbolizing social equality and unity? No. It marked the beginning of education by bestowing the sacred thread and their denial from it are from formal learning. Bimbisara, the founder of Haryanka dynasty, employed a multi-pronged strategy to expand Magadha's power, sending his royal physician Jivika to inventing new war weapons. ये बिंबिसार ने नहीं करा था, ये अपने अजातशत्रु भाई ने. महाशील कंटक एंड रत्नशाला, ये भी हमारे कुशाला ले चुके हैं टू सिक्योर अलायंसेस. पर वैसे ये भी करा था बिंबिसार भाई ने, पर ये नहीं. Down Manjam was a to several activities which of practical advantage, particularly crucial. Chota Nagpur plateau, location of arid plains, the isolation of Badagam due to being surrounded by incredible canal irrigations, the arid plains of northwest, which bred superior cavalry horses. Chota Nagpur providing access to iron deposits. Iron deposits? Chota Nagpur plateau. Fundamental political change indicated by replacement of Jana and Janapada in later Vedic. War and population and the decline shift from democratic, the tension from nomadic. The 10th mandala of Rigveda, the Purusha Sukta hymn, is historically known for being the first text to mention what concept that became rigid in the later Vedic period. Purusha hymn, the 4 Varnas of Brahman, known for being the first to mention what concept. The Rajashtri victory over the powerful Vajji confederacy was a long and difficult process. According to the sources, what was the ultimate key to his success after 16 years of conflict? a decisive naval building fortress, towering superiority, showing distinction. Vasakara. What was the status of women in early Vedic Veda compared to later Vedic? In early Vedic, women had no rights. Women's status was considerably low. Women in the early Vedic period were educated, composed hymns, and attending, but their women improved community and material society. The term iron Krishna is how do modern historians, according to sources, assess the role of this metal. It was sold direct because of immediate creation velocities. It used a restricted religious. It had no significant. It played as a role of catalyst, but the expansion into transformation. The Nasadi Sukta, hymn of creation. Unique philosophical perspective of the origin of goodness. What is the central first detailed process of sacrifice ritual that must be performed? The universe from cosmic egg laid by God Prajapati. Na God तुम जानते हो हिरण्य गर्भ the universe is created by the most powerful God. The universe origins unknowable and that even the gods came into after its formation. In post-Vedic period, a new social class, Grahpatis, became significant. What was the difference in economic policy and resource between the monarchical kingdoms and the Gansangas during the economic difference? Vast mineral wealth, while both political forms. Monarchs promoted trade and commerce, used coins and controlled resources, and simply non-commercial. They were the first to establish permanent standing army. The social division of early Vedic period. What were these main classes mentioned before the rigid Varna? Three main classes mentioned in before the rigid four Varna system emerged. Warrior, priest, commoners. The warrior, what was the Brahma priest? With the pantheon of God shifted, which triad of gods rose to prominence, replacing earlier deities like Indra and limiting importance. Pantheon of gods, Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu. Yes. What was the significance between Battle of Ten Kings mentioned in 7th Mandala of Rigveda that marked final defeat of Aryan's Nine? It was conflict between Bharat's clan condition. ये हुआ था. It was the first recorded first Janapada. The later Vedic period saw the development of 4 distinct valleys of pottery, which type of described as most distinctive painted graveware. According to Buddhist and Jaina texts, what were the two main types of politism that existed among the 16 Mahajanapadas, monarchical and Gansangas? What tactical advantage did Ajatashatru possess due to an orthodox character of Magadhan society? The society pacifist beliefs including other side expertise in horse breeding, strict tenets of Vedic short strong lines with the people held in low esteem. The Rajasuya Yajna should distribute jewels. The priest offered jewel. The king had to visit the municipality. How did the early Vedic people propose for worshipping gods differ from the philosophy of goals that emerged in the Upanishadic era? How did the early Vedic people's purpose of worshipping gods differ from the philosophy of goals that emerged in the Upanishadic era? It was abstract philosophy like moksha, aimed for concrete material gains such as cattle, god, whereas is sort identical. What does the text identify as the major reason for Vaishya Varna support On the other side, Buddhism and Jainism, founded members of Vaishya Varna. The Vedic religion, the new sects promise Vaishya. The Brahmin is separate lending and borrowing, manipulating the Vaishyas commercial people and social. That is referred as Shruti literature. What is this? They were only written on stone tablets. They were secret texts transmitted only from it. Listen manifests. Zumba, 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 zumba. Harappa Morgan. according to Buddhist and Jaina text, how many major Janpadas emerged? 16. Which Magadhan king known as Senia was perhaps the first to recruit commoners? Bimbisar. What strategic advantage and did Rajgir, the early capital of Magadha, possess? Strategic geographical advantage, as it was surrounded by 5 hills. Patliputra, the later capital Magadha, was known as Jaladurga or whatever because it was located confluence of which 4 rivers? Same question आ गया क्या? Son, Punpun, Gandak, Son, Punpun, Gandak, Ganga, Gandak, Son, Punpun. When Magadhan gained from its proximity to the Chota Nagpur plateau. Magadha और Moran से समझ लेगा इसने? पता नहीं. Mines of steel, iron. What was Bimbisara's policy of conquest and annexation except amplified by accession of Ganga as a part of Millennium Bimbisara? ये सारे किसके ऊपर हैं? चाह रहे हैं हम अब यह ठीक है. पाटलिपुत्र, पाटलीग्राम. Brahma, who was Brahma? Vasakara. 2 new war weapons, Sahali Patkam और Ratha. महाशीलकंटक और रथामुशाला. He said to have killed his father. अच्छा, how did he? He used matrimonial alliance, marrying the princess of Avanti. Oh, diplomacy. Avanti. जीविका भेजा था. तक्षशिला जीविका भेजा था for Pradyot Mahasen of Avanti. John Dix. Telecoins in India known as management was started with by which kind of Mauryan? Magadha. Mauryan में बल था आज. फिर Magadha. Okay. Why was the society unorthodox by Vedic people? Or they didn't believe in Vedic rituals. Which Greek king of Bactria did Chandragupta Maurya defeat, leading to matrimony? Not defeat. Seleucus Nicator. Who was Greek ambassador? Megasthenes. Mauryan Arthashastra. Amatyas were central administrators or advisors, mantris. Experienced, skilled official equivalent to modern IS cadre. Okay, skill officials. ये था philosophy which is known as पता नहीं क्या था. Vasta, which is economics. Economics. Dandaniti, statecraft, administration की knowledge. And philosophy, economics हो गई. और क्या रह गया? धर्मशास्त्र, philosophy. अच्छा, वस्ता नहीं, वर्ता economics. Anvikash, logic. And Dandaniti, statecraft. I thought Vedas three. What is the Shaptang theory? What is the Shaptang theory of Rajmandala theory? Or Rajmandala theory of 7 limbs of a state? King, Mantrin, Janpad Durg, King, Mantrin, Janpad Durg, Mitra, then Danda. For Mauryan Emperor Bindusara was Androcratus. Amithocrates. Who were the Greek ambassadors who came to the court? One was Dio- Dionysius and Demo- De- Democus. Dimachus and Dionysius. Dimachus was from king of Syria. Dionysius is from king of Egypt. According to this, beloved of gods, did Emperor Ashoka often use. ये था पेरिनीदू इंस्क्रिप्शन, रॉक इंस्क्रिप्शन, और जिसका नाम कहता है कृष्ण, नहीं, प्रिय नंदन, क्या कहता है, देव प्रिय, देव नाम पियदासी। और ये अकॉर्डिंग टू हिज एडिक्ट्स, कौन सा एडिक्ट था? जल्दी बता दे, इतना टाइम लगा तो कब तक बताया? अब तक तो याद हो जाना चाहिए था तुझे, इतना सब कुछ पोस्ट कर दिया मैंने। What he is a more स्टोन हिस्टोरिकल, ये नहीं बताया रंजो शो का या रन्यो शो। कंगन हाली, ये कौन सी इंस्क्रिप्शन में देवनाम? वाराणसी इज सम गुड, बता दे भाई, इंस्क्रिप्शन ही नहीं बताया। इंस्क्रिप्शन देवनाम पियदासी, रूमेंदी, रूमेंदी inscription. The only known portrait of Emperor Ashoka has been discovered from Kangan Hali inscription. Sanati. What is the meaning of Dhamma, policy promoted by Ashoka? It is tolerance towards each other, respect towards each other, righteousness of living, piety, morality. Dhamma, moral study, virtues, behavior, and code of conduct of social harmony. Which Ashoka's major edict explains miseries of Kalinga War. Major Rock Edict 13 also mentions South Indian states. To ensure effective implementation policy, the Ashoka appointed a special cadre of officials called Dhamma Mahamatas. Were used to counter claim that Ashoka's Egyptian king of 12th century known as Antiphanes ऐसे करके उसका Mauryan army was not demobilized. Capital punishment continued. Kalinga was not granted autonomy. Brihadrath was killed by his commander Dash. Commander Shishunag. Pushyamitra Singh, sorry. Sitadhaksha, Yadni, head of agriculture department. Who was the role of the Mauryan officer Vishti Vardhaka, as mentioned in Arthashastra? Vishti, appointing Vishtis, which are forced labor. The two major taxes, Bhag and Bali. Bhag is 1/6 of total, but Bali is voluntary offerings. Mention indicate that the Mauryan state was involved in constructing Sudarshan Lake in Gujarat for irrigation. कौन सा एडिक्ट था ये नहीं याद है मैं। The Junagadh rock inscription, okay. The Mahastan and Sohagora inscription provide detail about Mauryan state measures for famine-stricken people. Famine relief. According to Megasthenes, who were Astynomai and Acronomai. Astynomai was Officers who took care of central administration, agronomy was people who took care of road making and maintenance. In Cordial, the Antyavasain refers to what group in modern 16 caste that was developed through Varna Sankara. Whoever Ahitakas, they were upper Varna's temporary slave. What right did a slave girl have automatically free? The Mauryan state promoted the transformation of building materials from wood to stone sourced from Chunar near Varanasi, especially grey sandstone. T-pillared Mauryan palace was situated Vidal and Pune, which cities of Bhagra, Kumrar and Bulandi Bagh. Kumrar and Bulandi Bagh. Later, Hyun Sang in 7th century also said it was in dilapidated state. The Barabar and Nagarjuni hills is given to Jivika as related to Ajivika monks. As the monolithic sculpture of Dholi elephant discovered and also represented in Mauryan art. It was used to. It was a monolith. It was used to attract people. Prominent for Mauryan court art, showcasing the skill of carving of complete animal figure from a single stone. Who were Yakshas and Yakshinis in the popular art of Mauryan? Yakshas were Yaksha, god of wealth, Yakshini, god, doorkeeper of wealth. They were found in. What was the first university? Takshila University in 12th century BCE. No, 5th century BCE. Takshila, the interaction between the Persian Aramaic script and the Indian Brahmi script led to Kharoshthi script. Chandragupta Maurya founded the Mauryan Empire in 321 BC by overthrowing which dynasty? Mauryan Empire 321. The Maurya founded Nanda dynasty. The Greek scholar Justin Plutarch referred to Chandragupta by what names? Androcrotus and Androcotas and Sandrocotas. The Shogunatic mention his name Ranjo Ashoka in Kali Bhangan Kali Bhangan Sindhu Saraswati Kanganhali inscription Sanati Karnataka. According to source, the Mauryan administration was centralized empire which an organized hierarchical structure consisting of central dash provincial provincial. ये वाला अच्छा नहीं था Mauryan का फ्लैश कार्ड इसको दोबारा बनाऊँ मुझे पहली बार कर पाता Mauryan इसका Mauryan पे Orthodox sects quiz Mauryan पे कोई पेस्ट किया Harappa Vedic तो कर चुके Magadha and Mauryan. According to Sosmati, which was the prime reason Bimbisara parliament was a crucial component in the rise of Magadha. Powerful matrimonial was private defensive state to prevent invasion of more. In Eastern peaceful relations expanded Kashi without immediate warfare. The successful conquest of powerful Vajji embraced by Jasador long and difficult to resist. Directly from the firm military alliance, construction of military camp and parliament which led to the development of new military inventions like Vajji forces in a single design. The directly of the Kautilya strategy Sultanate which limb of the commander with the crucial of allies for friendly powers. Mitra. Mauryan administration. How did the function of Samharta and Sanidhata differ? Samartha supervised trade routes. Sanidata Samartha Adaksh. Samartha managed provincial. लगता है मुझे. Samartha was the collector general responsible for asserting and collecting revenue, while the Sanidata was the treasurer in charge of the custody. Megasthenes Indica provided valuable observation on Mauryan Indica, but some were contradicted by Kautilya's Arthashastra. Which of Megasthenes' claims is directly refuted by evidence in the division of society into 7 occupation is high, the absence of slavery directly refuted. Megasthenes into 7 occupation based classes. ये तो था एक प्रोफेसर चॉइस. डायरेक्टली रिफ्यूटेड. ये दोनों ही सच हैं, बट explicitly. According to Kautilya's Arthashastra, what distinguished Hithakas from other slaves? They were state-owned. They were members of higher one as within temporary slaves and others. Modern slaves are cited in source offer a critique, a theory of Ashoka's specific stories. Modern Empire decline. Which piece of evidence supports their counter? Ashoka immediately disbanded the continuation of accomplishment. The empire was immediately divided between his sons. The what social factor contributed significantly to the rise of Magadhan Empire, setting it apart from Orthodox, the unorthodox, and in support of Hinduism? Which of the following represents a key economic limitation of Jansankhas when compared to the monarchical Mahajanpadas like Magadha? Jansankhas, they had access to more, they focused heavily on overseas trade, their simple economy, limited proportion of trade resulted in fewer resources, they were forced to pay heavy tribute, and the absence of Gahapati class. The Hathigumpha inscription is similar to standing the Nanda Empire. What specific information does it provide about the rule? It records the construction. It records the construction of an aqueduct in Kalinga by Nanda, indicating the empire's eastward expansion. Okay. Which statement accurately described the outcome of conflict between Chandragupta and Seleucus? In a system, what was the fundamental difference between the Bhag and Bali? The Mauryan state exercised direct control over its vast and diverse economic through a system of superintendents, lands, Panya Sitadakshya. The Sogora and Mahasthan inscription are crucial for if a measure is detailed in these in the support surplus green provided. According to Kautilya's Arthashastra, the term Antevasin referred to the what social phenomena? The secret agents, a group of women due to intervarna marriages. How does the Mauryan capital Patliputra referred to as Jaildurga? It had a massive deep moat led by major rivers Ganga, Son, Punpun, Gandak. Bimbisara sending his royal envoy to create Padut Mahasena. Sending what was the primary role of official known as Amatyas. They district level responsible, they were providing governance. एक्सपीरियंस स्किल क्वालिफिकेशन ये भी ट्रू हो सकता है. Kautilya's Arthashastra recommended a king should be well versed in four branches of knowledge which Dandaniti, statecraft. ये तो खुद ही आंसर इन्होंने बता दिया. What does the title Senya use the for Magadhan king Bimbisar's the major developments of that era? What does Senya? It means he who has conquered his ancestors. It was not even the leader of indicating he was the first one to maintain a permanent standing army, which was the immediate trigger of the war between Ajatashatru and Magadha. Vajji's king Prasenjit of Kosala. Shinkashi. The Mauryan Empire was described as central state. However, that nuance in there. What is this nuance? A limited capital region of Pali with the rest of the empire being completely autonomous. It had only religious authority where political power was while uniform in communication. The following that of Ashoka, the Mauryan Western Kular. What primary economic activity allowed Magadha to maintain a huge permanent standing, a key advantage over its contemporaries? Magadha to maintain a huge permanent standing army. What primary supply protection for it's the farmers. Now we go to post-Mauryan. Literary archaeological से क्या होगा? ओके बस एक मिनट तो मैं एक चीज़ चेक कर लूँ. In postmodern, the sources for postmodern we see are numismatics like coins, archaeological evidences, literary evidences like Arrian's Indica, Strabo's geography, Lysis natural history, Piraeus of Erythraean Sea, which is Red Sea, and first ruler that comes here is Sunga, and the Sunga dynasty was founded by Pushyamitra Sunga, who was commander of last modern king Brihadrat, and he killed him. So Pushyamitra Sunga is the first founder of the Sunga dynasty. Mm, and his son Pushyamitra and Agnimitra, who was his son, was the strongest rulers of the Sunga dynasty. They tried to revive Brahmanism and donated also to Buddhism in North India. Vidisha was their capital. Ayodhya, Bharut, Vidisha, Ayodhya inscription, Bharut inscription, Vidisha inscription. We see about Pushyamitra Sunga who did Ashwamedh Yajna, which was done by Patanjali, who was author of Mahabhashya. Last ruler of this dynasty was Dev Bhatta. Dev Bhatta, who was killed by Vasudeva, 82 century BCE, and the Kanva dynasty replaced by Mitra dynasty, and they were replaced by Kusanas. Wait, I have to write कि ये थे कब से, so I have an idea. Sunga's postmodern. Satvahanas. ये रहे ना 185 से 73. इसको देखते हैं. पेन ये सारे पेन कर ले भाई. पेन ही नहीं बच रहे. कहाँ चले गए? कहाँ लिखे 183 to 73 BCE. ज़्यादा नहीं रूल करा इन्होंने. 100 years only, or no, 110 years they ruled. Then we see foreign invasions were done by Indo-Greeks, Yavanas, northwest of India, capital of Demetrius II invaded in 175 BCE. At the time, Sungas were in power. So we see Demetrius II invaded, captured Ayodhya and Magad, released bilingual coins in gold for the first time, and there was a portrait of Krishna and Balram there, which tells us that these Greeks were quickly assimilating with Indian culture and adopting the religious practices and ideology. Then we also in base Nagar pillar we see Antiochus sent Heliodorus to Bhagabhodra, who was of Sunga dynasty, to request to erect a Garud Dhwaj in honor of Krishna Vasudeva at Vidisha. Then we see Menander in 165 BCE, who adopted Buddhism, and uh, he monk Nagasena of Buddhism wrote a book on him known as Questions of Menander, and also known as Milindapanu. They faced challenges from Sakas and Parthians of their. Next, we see Sakas in 1st century BCE. Central Asian tribe. कब से Sakas? Converse. Sakas कहाँ है? Sakas आए Satavahanas की बात हुई. Foreign invasion northwest. Sakas, ये रहे Sakas. कोई particular date नहीं है. Sakas came. आए कब गए कब आए थे 1st century में, चले पता नहीं कब गए. Oh, no. But Sakas came. Sakas also were in 1st century BCE. Saka, Sunga and Indo-Greek rulers like Menander and Demetrius II were all in 1st century BC. They were a Central Asian tribe. They were hiding from Chinese ruler Shi Huangdi. 80th century 80 BC Saka rulers Mawes and Azes capture area of Afghanistan and Punjab. One of the Sakas, like Rudraman, founded Khadanshak Kadasmic dynasty, who followed Shaivism. Evidence is found in Junagadh rock inscription in Sanskrit 130 to 150 BCE. Also repaired Sudarshan Lake, Rudraman. Sakas also made matrimonial alliance and known as Vrat Kshatriya, foreign kingdoms. Then came Parthians and Parthians का भी नहीं लिखा हुआ इसमें. Pahlavas. Parthians and Pahlavas. Parthians इनके बारे में सही से नहीं लिखा. Smaller area. Shaka, Parthian, Christianity. हाँ इनके बारे में ज़्यादा लिखा नहीं कुछ. हाँ तो पार्थियंस आए फ्रॉम पर्शिया और ईरान. किंग गोंडोफर्नेज यूज पॉलिसी ऑफ एक्सपेंशनिज्म. ये भी 1st century BC में नहीं 1st century C के थे ये. ओके तो आफ्टर साकाज एंड ऑल थे. इन्होंने क्रिश्चियनिटी लाई विद मिशनरीज लाइक सेंट थॉमस. They were replaced by Kusana. Replaced by Kusanas. Sunga were replaced by Kanwa dynasty. And Kanwa dynasty was replaced by Mitra dynasty. Mitra dynasty replaced by Kusana dynasty. So इनका चल रहा तो फिर वही कुसाना आ गया 1st century C में. ठीक है. कुसाना Central Asian tribe. Yuechi founders Cadphises 1 and 2 of Kajule Kajula and Vima, Afghanistan 1st century CE. Vima Vima captured up to Mathura, released gold coins with portrait of Lord Shiva and Trishula. We see mention of Kusanas in Raptak inscriptions. It mentions Kanishk, son of Vima, goddess Nana female, which worshipped by them. Kanishk from 78 to 120 CE. Followed Buddhism, had two capitals, Mathura and Purushapur, Peshawar. Controlled Central Asia beyond Afghanistan until Magad. He gave patronage to Mahayan school. Parsava, Vasumitra. Vasumitra was Kanishka gave patronage to Third Buddhist Council and Vasudeva was president at that time. Nagarjuna and Ashwaghosh. Ashwaghosh wrote texts like Buddha Charita, Sariputra Prakarna, Saundra Nanda, promoted Avadhan literature, which is Sanskrit only. Kanishka also promoted art, made images of Buddha, which emerged from Mathura and Kandhara school of art. Satavahanas, Kusana, फिर Satavahana. Founder was Simukh of Maharashtra from 235 to 213 BCE. ये तो फर्स्ट सेंचुरी BC में भी नहीं है, तो ये तो सुंगा से भी पहले के बंदे हैं, सुंगा से पहले के बंदे हैं. सतवाहनास, ठीक है. रिवर गोदावरी में बनाया. Puranas referred to them as Andhras. Important source Nashik and Nana Ghat inscription. King Satkarni. Nana Ghat inscription mentions King Satkarni. Nashik inscription was made by Gautami Balashri, who was mother of Gautami Putra, and he also Gautami Putra, who was from 106 to 130. सतवाहनस फिर मैंने डेट कर लिखी. सतवाहनस का यहाँ नहीं होगा. कांडवास सतवाहनस 60 BC. अरे CE तक है वो भाई. मैंने पूरा ही गलत लिखा है ये तो. तभी तो मैं सोचूं ये कैसा है. लेट मी करेक्ट इट. पेन गिर गया. आई नीड एक ब्रेक ही लेते हैं अब सीधा आधे घंटे का, फिर आएंगे बैक. वी विल बी बैक. पोस्ट मॉर्निंग करेंगे पूरा. तो पोस्ट मॉर्निंग यहाँ तक नहीं, यहाँ तक तो नहीं होगा पूरा. पोस्ट मॉर्निंग है. अच्छा हाँ, इसमें पूरा हो जाएगा पोस्ट मॉर्निंग. ये पूरा पोस्ट. अच्छा गुप्ता भी चालू हो जाएगा इससे. पोस्ट मॉर्निंग. अच्छा हाँ, ज़्यादा बचा नहीं है. पोस्ट मॉर्निंग जल्दी कंप्लीट हो जाएगा. We will try to do till Gupta. For the first session, we will try to do till Gupta Empire. Gupta Empire. So Gupta Empire will be till here. Okay. And then we will try to do post Gupta and South Indian history from Sangam age. And see if we can enter from. दिन तो बहुत वेस्ट कर दिया. आज ट्यूजडे, थर्सडे, वेडनेसडे, थर्सडे, तो सर हमें कुछ डेट देख लो बार. वेडनेसडे, थर्सडे, फ्राइडे. आई हैव 3 days टू स्टडी. 60 नहीं हो पाएगा इस महीने में ख़त्म. मैंने सोचा इस महीने में पूरी हिस्ट्री ख़त्म कर देंगे. आई मीन फ्रॉम दिस प्री हिस्ट्री टू मिडिवल हिस्ट्री टू मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंडिया एंड टिल वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री. बट मुझे लग रहा है इट विल टेक um, मैं इसे तो medieval हिस्ट्री तक स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट वीक ऑफ फेब ख़त्म कर दूंगा. वो भी मुश्किल है यार, क्योंकि मेरे खुद शादी में जाना. तो आई थिंक फेब, होल फेब विल बी टेकन बाय हिस्ट्री. बट मैं चाहता नहीं कि सिर्फ एक ही में लगा रहा हूँ, वहाँ तक पाऊँ. तो आई विल ट्राई टू चेंज इट. ठीक है फिर. आई विल ट्राई टू डू, जैसे मेरा ये ख़त्म होगा इस पर मैं थोड़ा लिखूँगा. देखेंगे मिडीवल ख़त्म होने के बाद वी विल डू 2 थिंग्स साइमल्टेनियसली. आई मीन उनका हाफ हाफ, जैसा भी 20 पेजेस डेली कर रहे हैं अगर हम, तो उसमें से 10 हम करेंगे मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री के, 10 पेजेस हम करेंगे फिर पॉलिटी के. ऐसे करेंगे. सो मेरा माइंड एक चीज़ में खपे ना. देखेंगे, वो भी ट्राई करेंगे अगर उससे अच्छा बनता है. अभी के लिए आधे घंटे का ब्रेक लेते, खाना खाते, देन कम बैक एंड स्टडी. So we stopped at Satavahanas. We have to correct the time frame of Satavahanas. Satavahanas came 60 BCE to 225 CE. 60 BCE to 225 CE. So they were there with other Kusana rulers and Kusanas, Greek rulers, Indo-Greek rulers and Sakas. So the founder of Satavahanas was Simuka, and we find Maharashtra near river Godavari. Purana referred to them as Andhras. Ashokan edict referred to them as Satya Putra. Important sources of this dynasty is found in Nasik and Nana Ghat inscription. Nana Ghat inscription tells us about King Satkarmi, and Nashik inscription is made by Gautami Balashri, who is mother of Gautami Putra, and it tells us about how Gautami Putra defeated one of defeated Nahapana, a Saka ruler of Eko Brahman, a Saka ruler, and then inscribed 6,000 silver coins. He also took name of Eko Brahman. Right, skill. Oh, we completely discovered. We completely skipped the decline. How the Kusanas declined. So first reason was due to the two capitals, the bifurcation of the kingdom. So dual government between the two Kanishk son, which is Vashishka and Huvishka. Also weak rulers, weak successors of Kanishk. And then main reason was practice of land grants that were given to officers, and then later on by Vasudev 1 and 2 was given on to other officials also as a as a reward sometimes, and they had complete judicial and fiscal right on it. So they later emerged as an autonomous power and drived Kusanas out. Then we also see trade and commerce disrupted as they had conflict with Chinese Emperor Pan Chao, who also killed Kanishk. So we were in Satavahanas from 60 BCE to 225 CE. Shimuka was the founder. Nashik and Nana Ghat inscription. Then Gautami Putra successor Vashishthi Putra Pulmagi. Vashishthi Putra Pulmagi from 130 to 154 CE. They also promoted art and architecture in Deccan, India. Their capital previously was Patan, then they made another capital, Amravati, which was known as Dhanya Katak at that time. King Hala, which was also a Satvahana ruler, wrote Gathu Saptasati Prakrit. Gathu Saptasati in Prakrit. After Satavahanas, we see Ishavakus in eastern province, which ruled around 200 CE. Do we have some knowledge about Ishavakus? Ishavakus, Satkarni, Hala, Gautami Putra. Station into Greek cultural Kushana, Parthian, Saka, Kanishka. Oh, no mention of Ishavakus. So Ishavakus was ruling in eastern province into around 200 CE, and their capital was Vijaypuri in Nagarjunakonda promoted Buddhism and Hinduism both. Then came Chedis, uh, also known as Meghavahana dynasty in Kalinga, Odisha. Chedis were ruling in Kalinga. Hathigumpa inscriptions tells us about how local governor defeated Magad. A local governor was defeated by him, who was of Magad, and also took with him image of a Jaina Tirthankar from Patliputra. King Kharaveda converted to Jainism. Udaygiri and Khadgiri hills were given to Jainism, Odisha. Milind Panho manufacturing evolved. Gupta Empire. We have to see Gupta कहाँ से start हो रहा है? अच्छा Gupta यहाँ से भी हमें और पढ़ना है. So, what were the post-modern economic achievements that happened? Manufacturing emerged at that time. Milind Panho, which is Questions of Menander, written by monk Nagarjuna, written by foreign vision, written by monk Nagasena. Milind Panho tells us about 60 type of crafts. Then Jatakas tells us about 18 major guilds at that time. So trade and commerce was booming at that time. Ports like Musri in Kerala, Korkai in Tamil Nadu, Arikamedu in North Silk Road, South Spices, natural history, gold and Roman. Natural history of Pliny tells us about the gold rain that happened from Romans. Long coastline Silk Road, China, Europe. They were trading with China, Europe via Afghanistan. मैंने कहाँ पे लिख दिया, कहाँ पे मेरे को याद ही नहीं आ रहा कुछ. गिल्ड सिस्टम और जेठाकर्स, छेदीज गुप्ता एम्पायर से पहले का बाद में उन्हीं के अंदर का. Let me remember. तो ये क्या हुआ था, तो फिर पोस्ट मॉडर्न ही. हाँ, एडवांटेजेस वर लाइक लॉन्ग कोस्ट लाइन ऑफ इंडिया which helped in trade and commerce. Then Silk Road, which was around 4,350 miles, also helped in trade. We traded to China and Europe via Afghanistan, South Asia to South India, Rome. Traders also discovered monsoon, about how monsoon worked by Hippias 46 to 47 CE, about special boats that were made by Indians were superior to that of Romans. Then special boats which tells us about if the land is near or not. Pearl mining in Korkai, Paitan. Pearl mining was done in Korkai, and then it was traded or took to Paitan, Maharashtra. Trading routes. There were many trading routes like Hematwa Marg, which connected Central Asia to North Afghanistan, or Hindu Kush to Kashmir, from Kashmir to Mathura. Then there is Tamralipti, which is Uttarapath Marg, Tamralipti of Bengal to Chandraketgarh, Bengal, Takshila, northwest. Then we see Dakshinapath, Paitan to Ujjain to Vidisha to Mathura and Patliputra, and the last Vanipath. We see guild system that emerged in 6th century BCE. Jetha craftsman guilds had Sartavaha, Caravan Guild, Sethi Merchant, Nimayak Jetha, Seller Guild, Yajnavalak ki Smriti tells us about guild, about its judicial role, banker and financing was done there, investing was done there. They also administered towns, Nigama. They were autonomous from king. I mean, king gave them powers to administer the maybe province and district at same times. Autonomy from king. Shrenibal soldier to invest. Cultural popular art at that time. Buddhism dominated art and architecture. Support from king and merchants. Junagar caves, 200 caves. Chaityas, Ganeshwari cave of Ganesh, Karle Chaitya, Western Ghat decorated, most decorated. Hmm. Mathura School of Art, Gandhara School of Art, Amravati. Mathura School of Art was of central India, Gandhara of northwest Afghanistan, and Amravati of south Deccan India. Mm, Gandhara and Mathura was from 1st century CE to 300 CE, and Amravati from 50 CE to 350 CE, 150 CE to 350 CE. North India सही है. Patronage, Mathura and Gandhara got patronage from and Kushanas and Amravati got patronage from Satavahanas and Ishavakas. Mathura was mainly indigenous. Amravati was also indigenous but got influenced from Mathura art. And then we see Gandhara art, which was mainly influenced by Persian Greek Persian Greek art. So their realism plus aesthetics were portrayed there. Greco-Roman art, sorry. Hellenistic art, which was also called Hellenistic art. In Mathura art, they used white spotted red hand, and Mathura also produced first Buddha image. They also produced the Thankar image in Kanakali Tila, Shiva plus Durga image, various mudras of Buddha also were created in Mathura. Mathura did all three religion, and Gandhara and Amravati mainly stuck through. Gandhara also did other religion, but they mostly stuck through. Buddhism was most popular in all three. Natural and realistic. Mustache and beard, sad and hungry. Nagarjuna, Amravati का नागार्जुन कोंड, गोली, घंटशाला, जगाया पेटा. Let's do some. ये चालू करने भूल गया मैं. कितनी देर से पढ़ रहा हूँ के हिसाब से मैं अपने आप ही जोड़ लूँ. 10 मिनट में भी ज़्यादा नहीं, 6-7-10 मिनट ही हुआ. तो कहाँ पे थे? Post-modern. Who was the last modern king assassinated in 180 BC? Last modern king was Brihadratha, assassinated by Pushyamitra Sunga, who later made Sunga dynasty from 181 BCE to 1st century CE, I think. नहीं 183 में बनाया था, I think. उसने 183 BCE to 73 BCE. Who founded Sunga dynasty? Assassinated. ये तो पीछे मैंने वो वाला चेक करा था. पुष्यमित्र सुंग इसका तो. Priyadrat, Pushyamitra Sunga. According to inscriptions, Pushyamitra Sunga conducted to Ashwamedh Yagya. What was the author? Who was the author of Mahabhashya? Author of Mahabhashya was name is in my mind somewhere. To the chief priest of Pushyamitra Sunga's house, chief. No, I know the name but can't. Patanjali. Which law book of Dharma Shastra was written during the period of Pushyamitra Sunga Manusmriti? Who founded the Kanva dynasty in 82 CE? Kanva dynasty किसने बनाई थी? By killing the last Vasudeva. Devabhuti. Vasudeva. What is the term for the study of numismatics, which is the major source of history of the postmodern? Who was the first Indo-Greek ruler to invade North India around 175 BCE and capturing Ayodhya and Magad? अरे नाम भूल गया. Demetrius II was the first ruler to release gold coins and bilingual. Which integrated Buddhism. Meander. Also wrote Milind Panahu. Menander. What is the name of the Buddhist station in the honor of Menander? Milind Panahu. Which Indo-Greek ruler's ambassador Heliodorus erected a Garuna pillar at Vidisha in honor of Krishna? Which Indo-Greek ruler's ambassador Heliodorus erected a Garuna pillar at Vidisha? Antialcidas. The Junagadh rock inscription, the first major inscription in pure Sanskrit, records the achievement of which Saka ruler? Kanishka. Rudraman. Rudraman also renovated Sudarshan Lake made by Ashoka. Indo-Greek ruler Rudraman. ये क्या आ गया? मुझे ना फर्स्ट में प्योर संस्कृत. According to the Junagadh inscription, Rudraman directed his governor Amatya Suvishka to repair what structure? Sudarshan Lake. Which Parthian king is associated with introduction of Christianity to ruler के नाम भाई ना ruler के नाम भूल गया. क्या नाम है ruler का? Saint Thomas and First Mystery. Parthian king Gondopharnes. The Kushanas belong to which interlation? Yuechi tribe. Who was the most powerful Kushana ruler? Who ascended the throne in 78 CE, started the Saka calendar. Saka. Satavahanas, Kanishk Satavahanas, Kusana, Gautami Putra. नहीं Kanishki है. What were the two capitals? Amravati and Mathura. Peshawar, Purshapur and Mathura. Kanishk organized fourth Buddhist council. Fourth Buddhist council in Kashmir and Makhaliputa was the president. Kashmir. Which Buddhist philosopher is said to have converted Kanishka to Buddhism and authored Buddha Charitra? Ashwaghosh. What were the two major schools of art promoted by Kanishka? Gandhara and Mathura. Who founded the Satavahana dynasty in Maharashtra? Shrimuka. Who was a powerful Satavahana ruler whose achievements are detailed in the Nashika inscription by his mother Gautami Putra Satkarni. Satavahana rulers continued the legacy of carrying mother's name. Sorry, क्या था पूरा क्वेश्चन बना है. Legacy of carrying the name of their mothers along with their own name. Carrying matronyms. The Satavahanas promoted which school of art? Satavahanas, no, Amravati. अब बता ही दिया, मेन सेक्टर अमरावती. इसका क्या बता? धन्य कटक. Which king of the Chedi dynasty of Kalinga had his achievement inscribed on Hathi Gumpa inscription? ये तो King Kharvela. The Greek source Peripheles of Arithurians provides comprehensive information about what aspect of post-modern society. Gold reign of Romans. Indo-Roman. Which Roman historian mentioned the reign of gold? अभी पीछे पड़ा नाम याद. अच्छा, Pliny's natural history. Which Roman historian mentioned the drain of Roman golds to India? यही Pliny? Drain of gold, Pliny था. Pliny's natural history. ठीक है. The Dash was a major trade route covering 4 Indian Silk Route. The post-modern period, what were the corporate bodies produced manufacturers and traders called? Samita, guilds. अरे guilds नाम क्या उनका मतलब वैसे. In the post-modern guild system, who was the Sarthavaha? The head of the caravan guild. Sarthavaha. What was Chaitya in the postmodern period? Chaityas were the place for meditation and worshipping for Buddhism, which was carved out from hills. All meditation worship often carved from caves. The Amravati school of art, which flourished in Deccan, India, primarily used which materials for its sculpture? Grey sandstone from Chunar, Bihar. ओए पढ़ ले गया. अमरावती ना. अच्छा, अमरावती मैंने उसका बता दिया, मथुरा का. अमृता वाइट स्पॉटेड मार्बल्स, वाइट मार्बल्स एंड लाइमस्टोन्स. ओके. The dash of Orissa were dedicated to Jaina monks. The Nagarjuna hills or Udaygiri and Khandgiri. The Udaygiri and Khandgiri hills of Odisha were dedicated to Jaina monks by King Kharewala. लिखा है कि छेदीज में उदयगिरी और खांदगिरी लिखा है. The last Sunga ruler Devabhuti was killed by Vasudeva, who established the Kanva dynasty. Which Indo-Greek ruler released gold coins with portraits of Lord Demetrius II? Agathocles. मैंने गलत लिखा. Let me check. मैंने इसमें mention किया कि Agathocles है. Agathocles तो नहीं लिखा, पर रुको मेरे को नाम देखने दो. Greek ruler released gold coins with portrait of Lord Krishna and Balram. मैंने डेमेट्रियस लिखा है. एक बार इसमें चेक करूँ क्या? लेट मी ऑनलाइन इसे चेक कर लेता हूँ. एक्सप्लेन तो 1 साल ले लेता एक्सप्लेन करने में इसको. Agathocles ही है, फिर तो ऐड कर लेते हैं. नॉलेज बाइलिंगुअल्स कौन बनाए थे? पोर्ट्रेट इन्होंने नहीं बनाए थे. पोर्ट्रेट वाज बाय Agathocles. Agathocles. Who were the Shaka were assimilated into him? How were the Shakas Society recognize the 4 Varna order. हैं साकाज नहीं करा था. Let me see. लिखा तो नहीं मैंने but I think somewhere it is mentioned. अच्छा, they were known as Vrasht Kshatris, fallen Kshatris, called Sakas. Which Buddhist text mentions 60 types of craft emerging during Milinda Panu. The trade route connecting Paithan to Jain, Vidisha, Mathura and Patliputra. Dakshinapatha. Paithan to Jain, Vidisha to Mathura and Patliputra. Which text by Yajnavalakya Smriti describes the diverse function of guilds? क्या? उस क्वेश्चन ही सही है. The Ganesh Leaning cave in the Jonar group is an exception among Buddhist chaityas due to the preference of which images of Ganesh. Ganesh Leaning cave in Jonar group. उतना अच्छा नहीं था कोई नहीं. इसी पे Heterodox temple साउथ पोस्ट गुप्ता एंड पोस्ट गुप्ता. अभी तो गुप्ता पढ़ेंगे. अच्छा, फिर इसका मतलब गुप्ता पोस्ट गुप्ता साथ में तो करना पड़ेगा क्या? गुप्ता पोस्ट गुप्ता पढ़ा कितने पहले ये देखना पड़ेगा उसके सामने. एक पेज पैलेलिथिक टूल्स. अभी तो हिस्ट्री आएगी पहले. साउथ इंडियन हिस्ट्री. हाँ, साउथ इंडियन करेंगे फिर आएगा वो. नहीं पोस्ट गुप्ता भी हर्षवर्धन पे ही ख़त्म कर देंगे वो पोस्ट गुप्ता. उसके बाद भी है पूरा एक पेज. देखते हैं मेरे को. हाँ, तो कहाँ पे थे हम? We have to do what? Post we were on postmodern right now. ठीक है. No, postmodern हम कर चुके थे. But postmodern पे तो थे. Postmodern पे. According to inscription of Ayodhya, Bharat and Vidisha, what specific Vedic ritual Pushyamitra Sung performed? The Yajnavalakya Smriti indicates significant evolution of roles. Beyond their economic function, what judicial power did these guilds have? The authority to act supreme appellate court, the power to appoint royal judges, the right to draft and enforce their own internal laws. Which specific postmodern trade route connected the major and eastern port Tamralipti, Uttarpat, Hamatwa Marg, Vanipat, Dakshinapat. The Roman historian Pliny lamented the drain of Roman gold to India during the postmodern period. Which primary category of Indian goods was raw materials, staple foods, military horses and advanced weaponry, luxury goods. The Hathi Gumpa inscription details the achievements of King Kharvela of Chedi dynasty. Which significant religious artifact did he successfully retrieve from Magadha? It was image of a Tirthankar. The Ishavakus rose to power in the eastern Deccan after the decline of major empire. Who were the immediate predecessors in this region? Ishavakus के बाद Chedi नहीं, Ishavakus ना rose to power in eastern Deccan. Deccan की बात हो रही है. Deccan, पल्लवास, छेदीस, कलिंगा, उड़ीसा. छेदीस नहीं है. सतवाहनास भी नहीं, क्योंकि मेरे हिसाब से उनका अफगानिस्तान से लेकर मथुरा तक था. मॉरियंस डेक्कन कंट्रोल, अशोका वैसे करता था डेक्कन कंट्रोल, बट आफ्टर ये तो पोस्टमॉडर्न पीरियड की बात है ना. तो पल्लवास, सतवाहनास, द सोर्स क्लियर द ईशाकुस द अच्छा ईशाकुस और द सक्सेसर ऑफ सतवाहनास. उन्हीं के बाद है ना. ठीक है. According to Pliny, what unique shipbuilding technique gave India traders quote distinct advantage? Rough waters, using iron nails bolts to stitching the wooden planks together with coir rope. In the complex Gilchrist, the postman painted various leaders had specific titles. What was the designation of caravan trailers? Sarthavaha. The Nanaghat inscription signal for understanding the socio-economic impact of Satavahanas. What practice highlighting this initiated the creation of land-based social hierarchy? Granting tax and lands to Buddhists, implementing a rigid, forcing oligarchy to state-run, total monopoly on all foreign. क्या था नाना घाट में? लिखा तो नहीं है मैंने कुछ. Implementing a rigid birth-based caste system. ऐसा तो नहीं हुआ था. Granting tax. Buddhist monks and Brahmins. सर पहला हो सकता है. The Karli Chaitya in the Western Ghats is cited as prime example of rock cut architecture from the postmodern period. This elaborate structure was primarily a hall of the Ishakus who succeeded the Satavahanas in the Deccan, India, established a new capital that became an exceptionally rich Buddhist site. The Satavahanas in Eastern Deccan, India, established a new capital that became an exceptionally rich Buddhist site. Pathan, Tamralipti, Vidisha, Vijaypuri, Nagpur, Vijaypuri. The postmodern period saw invasions from various Central Asian nomadic tribes, which group was also known by Chinese as UHG. The Sakas. ये तो नाम ही बता दे तुमने उनके आगे. The Hunas तो नहीं थे. Kushanas. Parthians तो बाद में आए थे ना Kushanas के. Sakas. Large. कुछ हाँ नहीं लग रहा है तो. The Buddhism in phenomena and dialogue between the Buddhist trainers and powerful king who ruled the religion. Sangha shifted its capital to Vidisha. Their last ruler Devabhuti was headed by Prince Minister Vasudev. Which dynasty? Vasudev ने बनाई थी Kanwa dynasty. The postmodern period is noted for the emergence of three distinct schools of art, driven by the rise of image worship. Which of the following was not these free? Mathura, Amravati, Pala. Besides the crucial knowledge of monsoon winds, what other unique navigation aid? Deep seas during the post, releasing specific kinds of waves, following migration patterns. Charts. Facing political instability in their traditional power base of Magadha, the Sangha rulers shifted their capital to which city in modern day Madhya Pradesh? Ujjain तो नहीं है हिसाब से. From which political instability traditional power of जैसा Magad, the Sunga rulers. Sunga ने Vidisha. The state Vidisha and MP had become their capital, but एक छेदीच ने तो विदिशा पे गए नहीं ये विजयपुर. Sunga Vidisha. Which ancient Greek text written by unknown author, the Periphetes of Erythraean Indian imports अच्छा से मिलेगा था. Sports making into questions of understanding Indo-Roman. The Satvahana practice of land grants had a profound and lasting legacy. What major social formation characterized by hierarchy of land, city-state, centralized bureaucracy, feudalism, and feudalism, a republic of city-states. Feudalism. Systems have not ruled as Samantas. According to 3rd century CE, the Satavahanas empire fragmented and was replaced by several regional powers. Which dynasty succeeded them in the region of northern Karnataka? According to 3rd century CE, the Satavahana Empire fragmented and was replaced. ईशावकूस सतवाहन अभी ईशावकूस का ही नाम पता है यार. द कदम्बाज. ठीक है. आंध्रा में लिया था ईशावकूस ने. कदम्बाज थे कर्नाटका वाले. Despite the increasing minting and calculation costs like the silver, Pana, what remained the most exchange, barter, Roman promissory notes from goods. Despite the increasing printing, what remained the most important seen throughout the postmodern society? Postmodern. In an extensive Indo-Roman trade of post-modern period, which of the following items was a major export from India? Major export from highly valued in Roman Empire was Egyptian cotton. तो वहीं से ले लेंगे. Pearls हो सकता है. The rulers of Pushmitra strongly associated with the royal Brahmanism, which ancient legal text compiled. How does source material characterize the political landscape of India? Decline before the consolidation Satavahana Bhausalian. Many small things led by refugees are renewed. A period of complete occupation no identified led by local chiefs. Used in post-modern India, derived from a Persian word, including those of mixed races. Persian word Yavanat नहीं है. Saka, Malech, Yavana. Persian word yawn. ऑल पर्स. अच्छा ऑल पर मैंने गलती पढ़ लिया. मैंने मिक्स कहाँ से पढ़ा? With Southern Trading Guild with its main center. With Southern Trading Guild with its main center at Aihole had a jurisdiction stretched over entire Southeast Asia and used a flag with the figure of a bull. Which Southern Trading Guild with its main center at Aihole had a jurisdiction and stretched over entire Southeast Asia and used a flag with the figure of. Which Southern Trading Guild with the main center of Aihole had. मेरे को बिल्कुल आइडिया नहीं था कैसे. मेरे को ही पता है. Flag with figure of a bull. The postmodern South. Which dynasty's inscription especially mentioned tax exemption given to land grants of Buddhist monks? Satavahana. फिर उनका डिक्लाइन इसलिए हुआ था. The following portions of the eastern coast of India is referred by the Chinese traveler Fei Han trade during the Gupta period, which according to Marco Polo and Vasaf became a brisk and high influence trade for southern kings. Horses. The political history of post-modern era is confusing. What practice followed by Sakas? Numismatics वैसे कहा तो था उन्होंने. %73 वही पता था मुझे. इस पीरियड में मेरे को है प्रॉब्लम। कोई नहीं, अब गुप्ता से चालू करना है।